What's up, squad? It's your Squid. This is part 2 in a 5-part series on There Will Never Ever Be Another Driver Like Dale Earnhardt. I'm not dead. You'll only understand that reference if you watch the first part. It was a shorter one, so I'm going to make this one a longer one, and then the last 3 will be hopefully even. But yeah, turns out my dog was barking at a shadow. Let's get into it. Thanks for tuning back in, guys, and like I said in the first one, I hope you enjoyed this series. This will probably be the last video I watch on Dale Earnhardt, like the last series sort of thing. This 5-parter will be the last thing I do on Dale Earnhardt, and the last thing I do on motorsport for a couple of days. I'm going to get back into my other playlists as well, because I know there are people that are subscribed to you just for those other playlists that don't really vibe on motorsport. But I've been getting a motorsport bug, so don't you worry. I am going to keep up with it as normal in my normal routine of playlists and stuff. But yeah, after this series, it'll be something like 15 videos I've done on motorsport since I did a different one. So I think I'm well and truly due. I think I owe someone a Marion Barber video that I've owed him for like months. But anyway, I'm going to get into it. Part 2, this was talking about, oh, what's his name? I've forgotten it already. The guy that basically invented stock car racing in Daytona, and how the world record attempts went into Utah and all that sort of stuff. You know what we're doing.
Single-handedly lift himself out of poverty, or in the Carolinas, and even won him the Sportsman Series championship in 1956. And even though he would use his racing talent to single-handedly lift himself out of poverty, he surprisingly didn't wish the same destiny upon his son, Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, wow.
Ralph and Dale grew up in Kannapolis, North Carolina, a town so rural that it wasn't.
So Ralph was a driver, but he didn't want Dale to be.
Before that, almost everyone born into this place.
Like, that sort of explains and gives you a bit of background about why Dale was so, like, obsessively in love and so visibly happy about Dale Jr. being such a good racer and being into it as well, because he was sort of, like, not just because that's his son and that's his pride and joy and stuff as well, but maybe, you know, and this is the psychology coming out in me sort of thing, you know, like, it was a well, my dad didn't show that enthusiasm when I wanted to get into racing, so I want to make up for that as well and really go the other way, you know, like you know, we all parent in spite of our own parents and all that sort of shit, right? That's what all the articles I'm reading are saying.
Kannapolis, North Carolina, a town so rural that it wasn't even incorporated until 1984. Before that, almost everyone born into this place had no way out. Only Ralph Earnhardt's racing talent could save him from a lifelong career at the local cotton mill. Dale Earnhardt saw his father as his greatest inspiration, and he saw racing as his only real ticket to success. Ralph Earnhardt didn't want his son to race, despite his own talent in the sport. Talent is a very rare thing. If everyone were talented, no one would be. Ralph Earnhardt probably knew this, and if he had his way, Dale Earnhardt would have quit racing to graduate high school and get a nice desk job in the big city. He probably never expected his son to become one of the greatest drivers ever. He never lived to see it either.
Oh, that's sad.
Just 20 years after he began racing full-time, Ralph Earnhardt died of a heart attack.
Right,
Dale Earnhardt would have followed his father's wishes, and if he did, he'd probably still be around today. But instead, he chose to follow in his father's footsteps. And in trying to prove to his late father that he belonged in a race car, Dale Earnhardt would accidentally become one of the best in the world. Just 6 years later,
that adds a layer of context I didn't know yet. Thank you very much for recommending this, everyone that did. Sorry I was a stubborn ass.
Covering a city block a second.
Fuck, yeah.
In rush hour traffic, take a look at that. Earnhardt.
There's like a lot of emotion connected to this sport, you know, like, it's not just rednecks in cars like they'd have you believe, you know.
Even at the very beginning of Dale Earnhardt's rookie season in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, his talent was undeniable. For a moment, he found himself leading the 21st annual Daytona 500, which may have been the most important race in the history of NASCAR. Daytona International Speedway is quite possibly the greatest arena ever constructed by man. The scale of this place is difficult to describe, but let's just say it's big enough to be sunny on one end and stormy on the other. This modern-day Coliseum is the fruit of one of the most ambitious engineering projects of the 20th century.
Sorry, I'll go back. That was
but let's just say it's big enough
history
to be
nerd in me throwing some shade.
Stormy on the other. National Speedway is quite possibly the greatest arena ever constructed by man. The scale of this place is difficult to describe, but let's just say it's big enough to be sunny on one end and stormy on the other. This modern-day Coliseum is the fruit of one of the most ambitious engineering projects of the 20th century.
Every time I see it, that is a perfect angle there. Like, they are futuristic, like, you know those movies with this, like, just bullet-shaped cars that are, like, driving upside down, like, or Minority Report, where it's on a wall and shit, like, that's sideways. That's not how a road goes. That's...
Bill France.
That's the name I was forgetting before, Bill France.
Races on the beach. Bill France sought to construct a racetrack where drivers would never have to let off the throttle. The result was a 2.5-mile-long tri-oval surrounded by a 31-degree embankment. The sheer size of these corners is downright intimidating. It looks like you'd have a hard time walking up them, let alone driving on them.
That guy standing on it is like...
The picture of this place boggles the mind today. So
having to stand like Michael Jackson in that film clip, you know?
42,000 spectators who witnessed the inaugural running of the Daytona 500. The pure spectacle of almost 60 stock cars barreling around an asphalt bowl at 135 miles per hour was something that no one had ever seen before. And after an unforgettable photo finish, the Daytona 500 immediately established itself as the most prestigious event on the NASCAR schedule. For every stock car driver in America, a win at Daytona is the pot of gold.
Oh, that's like the perfect angle for the cameraman as well.
At the time of its opening in 1959, Daytona International
that shot was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
10 years later, Bill France would build an even bigger one in Talladega, Alabama. And while Talladega Superspeedway would also go on to be very popular with fans, it would not displace the Daytona
I needed, if I'd watched this
NASCAR.
instead of the day, I needn't have asked where Talladega or Daytona are, because this video explains Daytona is in Florida and Talladega is in Alabama. You guys had already let me know in the comments section because, you know, I haven't grown up here, so I'm working on a year not really paying attention to geography other than when I drove across the country, you know what I mean? Like, I know it in a vague order that I went through, like, LA, Arizona, Utah, fucking Colorado, something else, and eventually ended up in upstate New York, you know? But, now I know where those two things are as well. I'm learning more about the country as I go. This is the point of me doing this, you know?
CBS elected to broadcast the full race live in front of a national audience. It would be the first live broadcast of an entire 500-mile motorsports event in the history of American television.
Chaos on the last lap?
Itself in a perfect storm of circumstances, quite literally, as on the day of the race, a blizzard left most of the eastern U.S. stuck indoors with nothing to do but watch the Daytona 500.
It's like my YouTube views with the Corona lockdown.
Viewers tuned into this race, and for a brief moment, some of them got to see an unknown driver by the name of Dale Earnhardt leading the race. While his father dominated on short tracks, Dale Earnhardt would find his greatest success on the big ones, even though they would also provide him with his greatest turmoil.
He's in the number 2 though, not the number 3.
Nor did anybody else watching, but Dale Earnhardt was cursed. This is the story of a person and a place, a racer's relationship with a racetrack. This was merely the first chapter of Dale versus Daytona. Earnhardt would go on to finish 8th out of 41
at some point, didn't he?
This race. Not bad for his very first attempt at NASCAR's most coveted prize. Dale Earnhardt's rookie effort would be reduced to an afterthought, however, as everyone's attention was instead drawn to perhaps the greatest finish in the history of NASCAR.
Let's all come down to this. Out of
prime time. In front of millions. First advertisement for the race in general and the sport. Doing a bit of ice skating, bump and grind. Both of you go sideways, both of you go into the wall. Down into the grass. Let's throw some hands, motherfucker, they say. Meanwhile, there's a race still going on. Like, this is... Could you have asked for a better advertisement on the first time you're on national television, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you could.
$1,000 car becoming a 22-passenger school bus to bring his crew to victory lane.
That's dope.
Between Kelly Armour and Donnie Allison.
Brown hands.
Peppers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost. And what a bitter defeat.
In just a matter of minutes.
That is a great call as well, Ken Squire. Good solid work. I'm glad they put his name there as well. Because like that's brilliant action, but it's like the bow on the package is the commentary, you know?
The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost. And what a bitter defeat.
In just a matter of minutes, the television audience got to experience dramatic racing, a crash, an unforgettable last lap pass, NASCAR's most iconic driver setting an unbreakable record, and a bare-knuckle fistfight, all on live TV. All of a sudden, the the colloquial regional sport of NASCAR found itself with a national audience. The finish made it all the way to the front page of the New York Times sports section, and NASCAR would never be the same. The 1979 season saw Dale Earnhardt capture his first career win in just his 16th start. He would win the Rookie of the Year award for that season and go on to finish 7th in the overall standings in a year where Richard Petty won his 7th and final Winston Cup championship. At this point in time, Richard Petty is unanimously regarded as the greatest driver in the history of the sport. Looking at it today, his
the King, like as in the one they based the King on in Cars?
200 career victories are almost double the next driver in NASCAR's all-time.
Hang on a minute, what number is Lightning McQueen?
His 7 series championships were, at the time, more than double any other.
Is Lightning McQueen like a Dale Earnhardt? Is that what this is? Is that what, am I missing that? Like, what's going on here with that? You know what I mean? Like, is he... Did I just accidentally stumble? Is he number 3? No, he's 90-something, isn't he? No, I don't know. Fuck, I can't remember anything.
Driver.
Man, this is going to take years to get through if I keep pausing. Sorry, guys.
The notion of any other driver challenging Petty's throne as the greatest of all time was laughable. But if anyone were to do it, it would have to be a driver the likes of which no one had ever seen.
Where Dale Earnhardt in car number 2 is currently the leader, and he is on his way to victory and hopefully to pick up some additional points as he is on his way in his sophomore year
to
the championship.
In the Miami Dolphins teal.
In 1980, Dale Earnhardt shocked everyone by winning the Winston Cup Series championship in just his 2nd full-time season.
Fuck off, Wrangler.
The 15th different driver to achieve the title of NASCAR champion. Already in his young career, Dale Earnhardt had joined some elite company. But he would soon learn that even when you're great, you're still a long way from the best. Although he began with one of the greatest starts to any career in NASCAR history, Earnhardt's car owner Rod Osterlund would unexpectedly sell his race team midway through the 1981 season. Earnhardt reacted poorly to this transition and struggled for the next few seasons while bouncing from owner to owner.
2 to 15 to...
1981,
Alright, so that's why he wasn't in the
statistical season of his career the following season.
That's how he ended up in the 3, obviously.
Campaign with an abysmal average finish of 19th, while failing to finish more than half of his races for the year. After such a promising beginning, Earnhardt's Winston Cup career had slammed straight into...
This timer's about to beep at me, but when it does beep, I'm going to add another minute so that we can keep watching this for another minute, just because there was a couple of minutes that I didn't watch in the first one, you know? Even it out. Add 1 minute. There we go. Alrighty.
Concrete wall.
Pocono Raceway? In Pennsylvania. Whoa, big flip, airborne. Sliding around on his bonnet for a couple of 100 yards.
DNS for the season resulted from a violent crash at Pocono that sent his number 15 Ford skidding on its roof down the embankment of the first corner.
Yeah,
the accident would fracture his kneecap, but it wouldn't stop the scrappy Earnhardt from racing the very next week at Talladega, where
with a broken kneecap, if you don't mind.
This was surely the most trying time of Earnhardt's racing career.
Fucking hell, you can see it. Like,
began to wonder whether Earnhardt's 1980 championship was just a fluke. But Dale Earnhardt was not like the other drivers. He wasn't racing for the fame or the fortune. He was racing to prove that he belonged. He was racing to prove himself to his late father. And when a man is dead set on accomplishing an impossible task, he will never stop chasing it.
Absolutely.
The lowest moment of his career, Dale Earnhardt did what he always did.
Now let's pause it there, because this one's gonna, yeah, there we go, good. That's a good little spot to pause it on, you know what I mean? Like, he was out there to prove something to himself and to his late dad. He wasn't out there to just be, you know what I mean? Like, he had a point to prove. That's cool to know. I'm glad I know that about him now. But yeah, this was part 2 in a 5-part series. Check it out if you're watching in a binge. I hope you're enjoying the binge and whatnot. And if you were unexpecting and you've only just seen this one, the number 1 will be in my motorsport playlist as well. So go watch that. But yeah, these guys are my patrons. They're awesome. Kevin is the new one, so check him out. He's a legend, and that scared the shit out of me. There's a person in the little walkthrough next door to my house. So yeah. Anyway, I think maybe I am going to get murdered. Who knew? Anyway. On to part 3, I guess.